When I was in the middle of a faith test that God called a math test, it was a test about drawing the secret provisions that God had stored out of His promise by faith. I was supposed to be looking at the numbers that God had given me and not the numbers I saw in my bank account. I would have to say the two things that God has built the focus of this ministry and journey for me so far are: one, experiencing His intentional love through hard-to-survive conditions, and two, experiencing His hidden riches in dry and barren-looking landscapes. Before the Lord started the test, He showed me two promises. One was that I had $3,000 in my available balance, even though it looked like there was only $13. The other thing that He showed me is that I had $10,000 that He had hidden for me to find. In fact, the one was a big promise from Him because He had been showing me that He was delivering the $10,000 to cover the next stage of our journey for months beforehand. The thing I didn't know is how or when it would show up. Those are really wonderful promises that God had shown me, and they are real and tangible in the Spirit. The test is whether or not I would be able to rest, believe, and trust it would show up. Now let me show you what it looked like in the natural, so you can see why the pressure was so high. Like I said before, I had only $13 in my account and a bunch of bills to pay, and I needed gas and groceries, the normal things. But since I knew that this was a test of faith, I was trying to think as though I had $3,000 in my bank account and that I had $10,000 to pay for all the upcoming rents as well. I barely had enough gas to get down the road, and it took a little while for me to get into the place of seeing this promise as God said. As I was going along, I would say, I'm so glad that I have $3,000 in my account and I can pay my bills and support my family. Then I would tell myself all of the promises God made us, such as I can afford to support my family, my blog is my income, God supplies all of our needs out of His riches. But I would be lying to you if I said that I was soaring on just faith. It was so tense because one moment I was full of faith and the next moment I was fighting off doubt and struggling for air. All at once, we suddenly had so many needs, and it was like I was being buried alive and unable to breathe. Yet I had seen God come through for us over and over again, and it was impossible to think that He wouldn't do it again. Between concentrating my thoughts on faith and struggling to breathe with doubt, the Lord began showing me some hidden treasures. I was putting together a personalized love letter for someone that the Holy Spirit started to talk to me about the gem turquoise. Turquoise is a valuable gem that is incredibly rare to find. It is only found in the driest and most barren places. Symbolically, it is like a hidden wealth that is reserved for very difficult times of hardship and times of lack. There is always wealth stored away from God for us, and He loves to reveal blessings to us in times that seems like we will not be able to survive. In fact, some of the richest blessings that He gives are during those times when it looks like there's absolutely nothing. There was beauty flowing out of what God was showing me symbolically through the turquoise. He showed me that the turquoise is mostly found in host rock, and the turquoise gems have rivets in the host rock woven within them. As I was seeing this, God was showing me no matter where we are or how bad the attacks were against us, He's always right here within our midst with His abundance, ready and available to care for all of our needs. The thing is, we have to be open in our minds to trust God to flow through anywhere. During that time, donations were exceedingly low. But God showed me that if the support from Him didn't come through one place, He would send it through another way. God is our mobile home, and He is always ever present to deliver all we need and right on time. Like a turquoise stone, His living and active promises are intertwined into our lives. As we depend on them with all of our hearts, the blessings will pour out. The turquoise stone is like a sponge and it soaks up water. Just like that stone, I pray that you and I will soak up the secret provisions that God has prepared ahead of time to reveal to us. Never see a situation by how it looks. Although it didn't look like I had anything and there was no way that anything would come in, God said I had $3,000 in my available balance, and I had to keep believing that as if it was true until I saw it happen in a natural. To have faith means to walk by what God says and not by what you see. He says to you and me today that there are hidden riches in these times like turquoise gems, and He has buried ahead of time for us to find and to bless us in the hard times. In the times that feel dry and barren, it's like walking through a waterless desert. God has tucked away a hidden ocean of His opulent support. Like the bluest turquoise jewels that symbolize hidden water, believing becomes seeing. It's all there, in a place only accessible by faith. When you close your eyes to this world and see by faith, then you will see it. As you walk along, it seems like there's only sand and not even a tiniest drop of water. But then your eyes will catch a glimmer of something blue, and as you press in deeper to see what is hiding in the desert, and you continue to watch, you see that there's a buried box poking out of the sand. Inside the box, there are heaps of spectacular turquoise jewels. The jewels symbolically look like the ocean and a place of hidden water. As you place them in your hand, you feel the gems transform into water, and suddenly you're no longer in a desert, but you are standing waist deep in the azure blue ocean water. Every need and trouble that you had has been washed away, and you're no longer suffering from heat and pressure, but you are satisfied, refreshed, and filled with joyous laughter. May the Lord cause His hidden reservoirs of endless support to pour out to you during this time, to cause every desert-like situation to become an oasis of His exquisite treasures. After I walked through the faith test, God caused the $3,000 to emerge several times in a row, over and over again. The promise that I had of $3,000 in my available balance was a promise that I always had $3,000 in my available balance, even if the balance was saying otherwise. The $10,000 that He promised arrived a few months after the $3,000 cycle of continuous deposit showing up. It was like the ice cream sundae with a cherry on top. Having a promise from God is like having a bank account that is only accessible by faith in the invisible realm. By faith, you can transfer the funds of the promise into your account and see it show up in a natural realm. May you discover a secret ocean in a desert that is above and beyond your highest hopes, your most adventurous imagination, and faith-fueled, optimistic thoughts. Thank you for exercising your faith with me today. I love you bunches, and I am praying for you always.